Hello there. Thought I would talk a bit about suicide because it's something that sort of featured in my life for a big part from when I was a teenager. It was just fleeting thoughts after I'd lost my sister and I was trying to deal with being gay and self-worth. It was just something that was constantly in my thoughts. I used to sort of self-medicate with marijuana, and it was just an escapism. And then when I was 27, things got quite serious. As I said, I spent 6 months in the house, didn't really leave, kept the curtains closed, drawn, didn't know how to leave the house. Eventually picked myself up, but then over the next 7 years tried to kill myself 3 times. First time was just with some pills, and I kind of stopped myself. That was the first time I'd actually attempted anything and I'd ever told anyone. And a big part of when the next suicides, they went through different phases. The second one, I actually went into a headspace where I wanted out. And I thought I'd planned it out. So for 2 weeks, I just sort of switched off from everyone, kept going to work, got rid of all my record collection, clothes, everything, cleaned out all my cupboards, rooms. So my flatmate just had little things to send over to my family, and I wasn't going to be there. I was going to drive down to Brighton, had loads of drugs to take, go down to the rocks on the where a lot of people committed suicide, and take loads of tablets. And I had a knife so that I could stab myself, and that was it. And I'd gone into this headspace where that's what I was doing, tidied everything up. I didn't have any appointments at the mental health clinic because I hadn't made any. And just as I was about to leave the house, I had a phone call. Oh, the phone rang, and I hesitated, and I thought, no, I'll answer it. So I answered the phone, and it was the liaison nurse at the hospital, because I'd gone through all the psychiatrists at the hospital, and none of them resonated. And so I was just seeing the head of department. So the liaison nurse called me up, and just to say, I just noticed we didn't have an appointment for you. And I was like, no. And she's like, right. Well, she started talking to me, and she said, we're going to need to set one up. And then she was just like, are you all right? And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. And she goes, you're not, are you? And I was like, yeah. And she goes, no, come in and see me now. And I was like, fuck it. And I thought, okay, I'll go see her. I've got to get through this, and then I'm fine, then I'm okay. And so I went in and I saw her, and she said, I'd like to see somebody else, another psychiatrist. And she's got me to see him, but I didn't realise that she'd tapped the buzzer under a little desk, and 2 security guys turned up when I went into the office with him, and they locked the door behind me, and he started talking to me, and I started freaking out, and I started banging my head against the wall. And then he was just sort of like, calm down. And then he just said, look, he said, we're going to lock you up, and you got 2 choices. You either come willingly, or we strap you to a bed and medicate you. And I just thought, if I go into a mental institution, that's my end of my life. It's like, there's no fucking way that's going to happen. And I don't know, divine intervention or whatever, but something came in, something clicked into place, and I talked my way out of it and agreed to let them to release me into my friend's care for the weekend. But he had to come up and collect me, and he was responsible for me. And he did that, and life just carried on. And then a few years later, it's all getting too much again, and my second suicide attempt, I just decided one week, it was sort of like, I've just had enough, I want out. And so I planned it was going to be on the Friday night. I was going to just the Friday night on TV was a good night, so there's lots of things to watch, and have a couple of bottles of wine, have loads of medication, loads of paracetamol. Took over 100 paracetamol, 12 Nurofen, 2 bottles of wine, and I went to bed in a really good mood, closed my eyes, thought, yay, it's over, I'm out of here. And I closed my eyes and went to sleep, and woke up in the morning, looked at the ceiling, and I was like, fuck, did that really just happen? And so I got up, went to the toilet, and then I just went, "Bleh," and all this black shit just came out my mouth, and I was like, oh, maybe it did, but I feel okay. So I thought, sure, I'll be at work at 10 o'clock. So I went into the office, to the kitchen, and I thought, oh, I'll make myself a cup of coffee, and moving around and getting everything, I got the blood pumping through my thing, and all of a sudden I just started convulsing and shaking, and I was just like, shit, I'm in trouble now. And so I phoned my mate, told him what was going on, and he called an ambulance. The next thing I know, we're in the ambulance going to the hospital, and it was because I'd slept all night. It was too late to pump my stomach, so they just put on this drip to stop the paracetamol from working. I damaged my liver, had to take me off the antiretrovirals, and I just remember the next day lying in the hospital, and then I just sort of sat there, and this man came in from the mental health department, and I just heard this, and no bullshit about his voice, it was this really patronising sort of, hello Johnny. And I was just lying there, and I thought, what the fuck is this? And then he was like, I hear you've been having a bad time. And I just thought, oh my God, just keep your mouth shut and just ignore this. This has got to, because if I open my mouth, I'm going to get locked up. I've been here before. Just pretend you're asleep. And he said, all right, we'll come back tomorrow when you're a bit more awake and we can talk. And about 5 minutes after that, I was out of the hospital. And I booked a flight to Thailand, and I went and sat on the beach for 2 months. First month, we were pretty much deciding whether I wanted to live or die, and the second month, after going to a monastery and seeing the monks, seemed to be a bit of a turning point, and I decided I wanted to live. And it was a couple of months. It was a dark few years of not having any self-worth, not understanding why I was living, not understanding why I wanted to kill myself. I disassociated from the rape. The medications that I was on were having so many effects on me. And I just remember it's like that last one and the first one, there's both times it's like there's been a divine intervention where the liaison nurse phoned to check in on me. That was my saving grace. And then the second time it's like, well, I should have been dead when I woke. I shouldn't have woken up. And just knowing that something happens where there's a greater force out there, and if it's not your time, it's not your time. But I kept everything. I internalized everything. I never shared it with anyone. So it was quite a shock for a lot of people. But depression, suicide, I see them now as some of the most fucking normal thing, and everybody goes through them, and they've just seen as bad and negative, and they're not. It's a natural state of being. It's like we've just got to learn how to love and embrace all these different aspects of us and realize that it's all normal, it's all good. And the sooner we embrace these things, the sooner they shift and we can move on. And life can be so much easier without all the judgments, without all the preconceived ideas of what is right and what is wrong, and just allow people to just be who they are. I think that's my biggest message. And if somebody's feeling suicidal, or you know somebody, just allow them to feel that. There's nothing wrong with it. And the sooner they see it for what it is, hopefully they can shift, it'll move, it'll change. And I believe a lot in fate as well. It's like, if it is our time, it's our time. Whether it's suicide, a bus accident, or flu. So, just want to wish you all well, send you lots of love, be very grateful that I'm still here. And we live to tell another story. Take care, lots of love, see ya.